Dr. Joey Gariziak, and I am the Director of Esports here at Shenandoah University. Madden has been absolutely fantastic. A number of our players made it to the playoffs on both PlayStation and Xbox. And we have obviously now culminating with this national championship for Dylan on the PlayStation. It's going to be a lot of fun. He had one mishap this year, and it was to Boise State. And so I'm really excited for him to be able to have this chance to show what he can do at a high level. I have full confidence in him. He has a great game plan going into this. Boise State's one of my favorite schools out there. Doc Haskell is such a fantastic director, and Boise is an amazing player. So I know that it's going to be a great match. I'm hoping that we just see both of these great students, Dylan and Boise, putting everything out there, because they both deserve to be here. In my opinion, the two best Madden players in the country right now. And I think this is a perfect matchup. It's going to be strength on strength. A lot of fun to see a rematch. So we're just looking forward to see these fantastic students compete with each other, and then also see Dylan get a win this time around.
I'm Doc Haskell. I'm the head coach and director of Boise State University. It's been a really good season, lots of success, but it's been a busy one. He's brilliant. He really is brilliant and prepares himself really well. He's studied his opponents. He knows what they like to do. He even has some predictions on what they might try to throw his way to be just a little bit different. And I think that his understanding of his win condition in his matches is as strong as anyone we have here. Here's what I fully expect from Dylan and Shenandoah. He's going to be completely prepared. He's not going to be afraid in the least. He's going to take big chances. The great thing about a match like this is that you're going to see the best from both. Nobody is in a bigger advantage than the other, and it could go either way.
Welcome back, everyone, to the NACE 2021 Championship Series. We are just moments away from our first Madden match of the day, and I am so excited to get this series kicked off. I am your host, Glitter Explosion, and in order to get everything going, the first thing I have to do is bring back in our lovely casters. So, guys, join me back up on here. There they are. Lovely. You look ready. Are you guys ready?
Always. I'm excited. Yes. This is I like that preview showed us. This is going to be a very, very tough match.
Oh, I've got a couple more things in store for you guys. Okay, so now before we get into our match, we're first going to take a quick look at the rules of the game so that everybody in chat knows how all of this is going to work, what our players are going to be doing, etc., etc. But then I have some extra stuff in store for everybody after that. So I hope you're excited for it.
Ooh.
Oh,
yeah. I like extra stuff.
It's gonna be good.
Good extra stuff? More extra stuff.
Gonna be. It's extra stuff and it's good because
sounds
it's
like
going
Oreos.
to help us learn a little
Double
bit.
stuff.
Okay. All right. I mean, it does, but it's going to help us learn a little bit more about these players. All right. So as you guys can see here, this is our gameplay format for our first series, Madden, which is on PlayStation. It is single player versus single player. It's a best of 3 format with 5-minute quarters. And then we've got injuries on 0, fatigue on 50. All right. And those are the important points. That's what you need to know, because that's not a lot of time. So hopefully these players are ready. And speaking of the players, guys, let's go back and touch on them one more time before we really dive into this game, because I want to give a little bit of extra love to them. So let's start with Dylan from Shenandoah. Anything, I know you both picked him to win. Give me one
Boise
solid
State
reason.
To win. No.
Oh no, you're right. You did.
We got the hype on
Already
you
wrong.
wrong. But Boise State, we have
because you have faith in him.
I
but
do, yeah.
What are the reasons why?
I think it's when you play with like a passion that other people don't have. I think obviously talent comes into a huge part in most things. That's just natural. But if you have more passion, you have more practice, and you want to win more, you'll have that advantage going into the games. And I feel like that's something with Dylan and Shenandoah. I mean, just Shenandoah has showed us alone the hype and passion that they have for him. So I feel like that can go and translate into his game as well. Obviously, we know that Boise State is a very good esports program. I've had the experience of playing against Boise State at UNLV. I know they're a great program. I know they have amazing teams. So I don't expect this to be an easy game for either side, though. I still think that Dill made it to the finals for a reason.
Now, this is where the cool extra stuff comes in, because we actually did get a chance to interview Dylan. So we are going to hear it straight from him, and I'm excited to check that out. So let's take a look.
My full name is Dylan Lewis. My gamer tag is Dill, or DYL_TV, short for Dylan. And my program is I'm at Shenandoah University, studying esports and sport management. I've been playing Madden just kind of casually, like ever since I was really young. Like, I just kind of like start up a franchise and like play with my favorite team, the Dolphins, right? But competitive wise, I really started this year, and I really plan on kind of moving forward with it and like taking it even more serious next year. I would say my strength is definitely on the defensive side of the ball, just kind of being able to give the same look and also just adjusting to what he's doing on offense. I want to bring the first national championship to Shenandoah.
Okay, first of all, I'm going to let you guys break this down a little bit farther, but can we just talk about that shirt? That shirt was fire.
Yes. I'm on board with that. I'm
listen,
all for
I have
Matt
no
for
idea
anime.
anything.
Troy doesn't watch anime, but yeah, I'm all on board with it. The anime train, we're hyping that this year. But yeah, Dylan, I like the kind of approach that he's got to this one. Talking about his strengths on defense, going to be the first one to bring this national championship to Shenandoah. I'm excited for it. I like the hype. I like the leadership and the poise that he's got going into this competition. But man, it's not going to be an easy game here today.
It's most certainly not going to be. And speaking of the other side of that coin, we've got Wasey Williams, obviously from Boise State. Let's tell me a little bit more about Wasey, why you've got so much faith in him.
It's not going to be easy for Dylan because Wasey is insane. Just as I said, won the Play versus championship yesterday in that series. Continuing to ride the success, has been playing Madden competitively for a while now. He's the leader of this program at Boise State. I mean, just to talk about the pedigree and the talent level that Wasey brings to this, he just gives off the vibes that like this is a guy that knows how to play Madden, plays it a lot, and is very good at it. And based off of the successes we've seen, the profile that we have, this is not going to be easy for Dylan to win. And Wasey, undefeated in groups, has already beaten Dylan once in those group stages, should be the favorite here today.
All right. Well, we also got a chance to chat with Wasey as well, so I'm excited to check this interview out.
My name's Wasey Williams. My gamer tag's gods.holiday, and I represent Boise State's esports program. Bleed Blue, baby. I'm happy to be a part of it, and it's been sweet. I'm going to work hard, do my best to prepare and be as prepared as I can going into the match, and I kind of know what my game plan is and what I need to do to execute. I love competing. I grew up always being super competitive. You're going up against great competition, and you put in the work to beat them, and then you come out victorious. That's so satisfying, and I love competing, and just anything. Definitely going to try my hardest to win it. We'll see how it goes, though. Shenandoah is a good player, and very good player, and it'll be a great matchup. It's going to be a fun one.
There is a lot of confidence radiating from that player, guys.
I feel like that's just people in the Madden scene specifically. Also,
True.
they know, like they play this game a lot. They are confident in themselves to make it this far. So I feel like both of them radiate that same energy.
Well, guys, stage is set. I believe our players are ready. It's time for our Shenandoah versus Boise State Madden matchup. So I'm going to leave you guys to it. Take it away.
Oh, Captain, my captain, and away we go. Troy, ready for the championships. Boise State, Shenandoah
I'm
facing
excited,
off here.
man.
We've already talked about just the expectations we have for both sides coming in. Both of us going with the 202 Boise State. It's going to be a tough matchup. Wasey even gives credit to his opponent. That, it's going to be a good series. They faced off once already. We didn't actually get to see the score sheet. Well, I didn't personally. I don't know if you did. If you got some insider information. But Boise already beating out Shenandoah one time prior gives us that sort of precedence that Boise should be favored here. But in a best of three, anything could happen.
Yeah, and I think that's why we both chose that 2-0 in this series, in this best of three, because Boise State had already previously beaten Dill. So it's like we're going into this, we know that he is up at least a game on him, but anything can change in a best of 3. You can totally figure out your opponent after the first game. Even if you lose, even if you win, you can totally change your play style and even the team that you play with going into the next couple of games. So I think that's something that these two have that adaptability. We saw it yesterday in the NESF finals as well in Madden. Changing your team when you need to is very important, especially when you can't get something running or you need to change your offensive line is not working out. Something, there's very specific things, but I had a feeling this was going to happen. Green Bay matchup, mirror matchup once again going into this one. It is going to be exciting. We are here for game 1 of the NACE Championships. Ladies and gentlemen, Boise State versus Shenandoah Esports. Getting some amazing action here. Really excited for this game.
Yeah, one of the matchups you talked about yesterday's event at the high school level, we saw the Green Bay mirror matchups going to be very interesting and how this does shake out, because the mirror matchups really give the accent on the skill matchup, because you're working with the same roster. And as I talk about getting in with that AI, you get your players in the X zone first and just try to get that X factor activated. And then your AI just inherently gets a little bit of an advantage. So going from that, I'd like to see an early lead taken here. Boise State starting out with the ball, seemingly, according to what I'm seeing on screen. And I'm excited to see if they're going to capitalize on this first possession.
See if Aaron Jones is going to come into the mix early, which he is, going for a layoff pass over to the side, getting about 9 yards there. Good start for Boise State on the offense. You obviously saw him making some substitutions, switching some audibles around to get to the set. Running the trips offset once again. We saw a lot of this yesterday. Running Aaron Jones right into the defensive line. That's not exactly going to work out. 3rd and 3 going to come up short here. Looking at how this game is going to play out, that we talked about the importance of establishing that run game, getting some play actions, and messing the defense up to stop playing just covered defenses. Rogers gets in a bad situation there. Not able to find a receiver and goes to 4th down. Probably not going to see a punt as per usual. Going to try and get this 4th and 3rd conversion.
Absolutely not. I mean, it's 4th and 3, first possession. You might as well just continue to try to just get this going. Start out early, start out ahead, but this trips bunch to the left or right. We saw a lot of it yesterday. And if it's going to work here. Oh, he dropped it. That would have been huge. Turn that one over. I mean, the field position changes, maybe 4 or 5 yards, but either way, the turnover going the other way. So Shenandoah starting out in very good field position.
Bagged him up on defense. Now Shenandoah can have the first light of offense here. Changing some plays around, obviously trying to make sure everything and all your substitutes are aligned. That's exactly what you're going to be seeing here. You're going to be seeing Shenandoah doing that on their offense as well. Probably going to take this first time out or have enough time, looks like, to get everything set up. So get to see Shenandoah on the ball for the offense for the first time. See what they decide to start with. Going to be an Aaron Jones run, and it's looking great as Aaron Jones burst for about 18 yards there. First play of the offense for Shenandoah Esports here. I mean, this is already looking great. Time management, obviously we're only a minute in, and they're already on the 19 due to that turnover on downs. And they're getting Aaron Jones started early, and that's exactly what you need to do. Get him early, get him going, make the defense have to play around Aaron Jones, and then find Devontae Adams for an easy touchdown.
Yeah, being able to open up this defense, put them into a position where they don't feel comfortable, give them into a man situation, and you want to have somebody watching Aaron Jones at all times. If he's going to continue to do this all day long, and you start to open things up on the outside, give yourself that option to get Devontae Adams down the sideline, maybe to get Funches across the middle. We saw a lot of tight end inclusion yesterday in the offense as well, so there are certainly a lot of options here that you get already just from getting Aaron Jones running the ball. Not to mention, you could bring him in just to have him as a relief valve coming out of the backfield, just 2 yards past the line of scrimmage, plant right in the middle of the field, have him on a little flat out there to the side if you need for an emergency. Like, there's so many options you're getting now with what you're starting here in this possession.
Yeah, that's why people like Green Bay's offense so much, has that option to really mix up the team. A.J. Dillon trying to run it in with the halfback, the fullback run in, can't find it, the 4th and inches. So either going for a touchdown or taking the 3, you have to go for the touchdown. In a scenario like this, your 4th and inches especially, you just need that half a yard to get yourself a first down. But smartly played, going to take the field goal. So Shenandoah Esports looking to put points on the board to start this one off. Going to knock up 3 on the board, first points of the game. Also, I mean, you can't mind that there because he gets the ball at halftime. This was, of course, kickoff to Boise State originally. So those 3 points are basically your free 3 points in the game. Smart to take those. I know it's 4th and inches. You maybe want to see those sometimes. Go for it. But smart enough just to take the free points.
Yeah, and then on the other side, now you have to kind of wonder where Boise State's at in this position. You're thinking, okay, you had that turnover on downs, nearly intercepted last possession. So what are you going to do to change things up here on this one? How are you going to be able to get your offense going to shake off that turnover and get yourself rolling down the field?
Play action finds nobody, but a late pass, almost intercepted. Very dangerous throw. This is what I was talking about earlier. Shenandoah is playing lockdown defense, making him throw into coverage, putting him in awkward situations. This is why I said you got to establish that run game early. Get Aaron Jones involved. And so far, we saw pass to Aaron Jones, but no runs just yet. This has forced Aaron Rodgers to throw out a few times. 1 for 5 for that 9-yard pass that we saw for Aaron Jones. And now you can't obviously establish run on 3rd and 10, so you have to go for another pass. And so far, Dill is playing lockdown defense, playing a good cover, and not allowing anything from Aaron Rodgers to go to receivers here.
And just doing an exceptional job to keep this secondary in so that you're not giving Rodgers any options. 3 times, 3 passes, rolling to the right.
Valdez-Scantling down the line, can't find the end zone, but finds about 40 yards in that same mean. I mean, that's exactly what you're looking for. Jair Alexander was just short of that, I believe, to try and pick that one off. So great throw by Rodgers to get that one over the top. And that's obviously a first down. Gets him into close range here for a field goal or the end zone. See what they decide to do. It looks like it might just be another passing play. Another player that chooses to avoid on the runs, but he's choosing MVS, and it's not working out. We see Jair Alexander is going to take that back for a touchback. An easy pick for Shenandoah's defense is going to come huge. The first turnover of the game. We already saw a turnover on downs from the offense of Boise State. Now he's playing lockdown defense.
That's just late on the read. You had the opportunity on the post. As soon as he breaks out of that to go start towards the corner of the end zone, that's the opportunity. Lob that one up, send it outside where you're not going to let the corner get to it. I mean, you got size advantage there. You have to let your man get and try to act his size advantage over the defender. Just a little late on the throw, a little too far inside, ends up going the other way.
Yeah, and I see why they want to target that matchup. You have Jair Alexander versus MVS. MVS got the height on Jair Alexander, so throwing that over the top has already worked out once and should work out again. Rodgers in a bad spot to try and get that one out. Going to throw his first pass away for now. But, I mean, that's a huge turnover. Obviously, getting them down to the 21-yard line off the interception. Stops any extra points. Even a field goal would have tied up the game, obviously, from Boise State. So that is huge. 2 turnovers in the on their last 2 possessions from Shenandoah's defense, playing fantastic. If you can depend on your defense, you are looking good, but they can also depend on their offense so far. Devontae Adams getting a nice catch for 15 yards. Going to be able to advance him up the field to the 37-yard line. And this is looking like a great game for Shenandoah. I mean, there's nothing much to really be said. They've established the run. They've played really good lockdown defense, and they're really putting Boise State in the spot here. Nice move from the joystick movement. Aaron Jones going to find another 8 or 9 right there. And like we said, you said that earlier, a strategy to win the game, time clock management. You get a lead early, make sure you're playing the time correctly. They're 5-minute quarters. You don't have a whole lot of time to work with. And that's exactly what we're seeing Shenandoah do with that run options, being able to get Aaron Jones involved.
Keeping the ball inbounds, keeping it in play, just to keep that rolling. Now here you are. You keep doing something like this.
He's gone.
You get the moves on.
The 10, the 20. It is going to be a touchdown for Aaron Jones. A monstrous run from the 37-yard line to get Shenandoah the first touchdown of the game. The juke moves, the moves from the joystick, all too easy. Shenandoah is going to put up 10 in pretty much the first quarter, 7 seconds into the second. And this is looking like a strong showing for Dill and Shenandoah Esports. And this is what I was expecting. I mean, we both predicted Boise State to win, but we knew there's a chance that Dill comes into this extremely prepared and ready.
Yeah, and just off the reports, that was a close game the first time they did play in the group stages. I mean, these are the 2 top teams coming out of their group, so expected this. Lacey said it was going to be a tight matchup, that Dylan from Shenandoah was a very good opponent. So all expectations for a good series regardless of our predictions, but best of 3, anything could happen, especially in a mirror matchup.
Yeah. We established the run game, but it was with Rodgers this time, so 14-yard rush to go through. Probably the last cardio run we will get today. Said that yesterday too. Just repeating jokes at this point. Austin gonna find an easy catch though on the sideline for looks about 4 or 5 yards. Nothing too bad there. Gonna get them down to 2nd and 4 at just about midfield here. We'll see what they decide to do, how they decide to develop the play. Not gonna get Aaron Jones involved just yet. Looking for that matchup, of course, trying to get Devontae Adams, and they do on a very, very low pass, but still gonna be able to find that kind of safe pass to Devontae Adams. First catch of the game for him for Boise State. A lot of passing though, and this, we talked about this yesterday. When you are only in a pass offense, it becomes very easy to cover everything and to start being prediction, and you're gonna see a lot of throwaways because they're going to be on lockdown defense every single time. They know you're going to be passing. They're not going to stack the box. I mean, you're seeing 3, maybe 4 people in the box at any time because they know you're not going to run it.
Yeah, and based off of that, you're going to start getting play call differences. You're seeing a lot of zone coverage, a lot of nickel. Surprised you haven't seen any dime come out of this one. But, I mean, just finding these holes in the zone just like that time and time again. Boise State right now is doing exceptionally well at moving this ball, creating these openings, and taking advantage.
And that is exactly what you need. I mean, we already talked about that matchup. Jair Alexander versus MVS has the height advantage. Aaron Rodgers just has to throw it over the shoulder, and that should be an easy conversion. And it has been both times so far. Another throwaway once again for Boise State. But that's exactly what he needs to find, and that's maybe something Shenandoah wants to try and match up, is maybe taking Jair Alexander and putting him on Devontae Adams and trying to switch up that kind of matchup and see if they can put someone bigger or someone faster on MVS. That way they can get that covered down. See another potential throw to MVS. Not going to find him in the end zone. Very, very dangerous throw, but had some time to actually get that to his receiver. 3rd and goal from the 7-yard line for Boise State to put up some points here. Got to see them put any kind of points. Even a field goal is great here. Rodgers might go for a run. Does have a hole, but gets destroyed by the D-line anyways. Clark going to come in big, and that is going to, I was going to say leave it to a field goal, but it looks like might be going for a touchdown here. Trying to go for big. I mean, you got to get this 10-point lead somehow, and this is going to be the way he attacks it.
I like the attempt, trying to get the offsides, maybe get a little bit closer, half the distance, but 2-minute warning hit. I mean, you got to put some points up. So yeah, there was an attempt. I respect that, but having points on the board is better than nothing at all. So with the 3 on, you're still only down a touchdown. Got to remember, Shenandoah gets ball at halftime, so being able to maximize your efficiency, even though you are playing behind. And I said playing behind is going to be very difficult here all day long, regardless of the series we're playing and whose teams are playing.
Yeah, you see Lewis going to take that one back. Obviously not trying to fumble on the kick return, so putting a more heavy user on the kick returns. But you're going to see the 10-3 lead. We have 2 minutes left in the half. Shenandoah's offense has looked great. Their defense even better at times. We've already seen 2 turnover on downs. The stick work is immaculate from Dill so far on Aaron Jones. It is so difficult to match someone who has stick work like that because they're going to put a stop and go on you in no time. Just make you miss out on many, many tackles. That's why maybe just leaving the CPU to try and get that tackle instead. Yeah. But, I mean, the offensive run work here with Aaron Jones has caused so many holes. Aaron Jones is not going to let go of that ball. No fumbles here so far. And we see just how much field he's already covered in 20 seconds. You're seeing just so much time. Still has a couple of timeouts to work with as well. He wants this obviously to be the last possession of this half. 56 seconds left, 1 timeout for himself. Maybe try and get this to the sidelines, get a little bit more field possession, try and get 3 to 7 points here at the end of this drive.
And the problem with this is right now, Aaron Jones is doing just that. He's getting 4 yards past the line of scrimmage before anybody even touches him. Sometimes he's getting to the first down marker. He's getting up into that secondary before anything's happening. Yeah. Finally gets something stuffed at the line of scrimmage. Only a gain of 2, but he's averaging almost 12 yards a carry. You cannot let that happen.
Yeah, he's kind of monstrous right now. Good tackle. Not going to be able to evade that one. So 26 seconds left on the clock. It looks like going to have to make a decision here to either call timeout or continue his momentum. And he's going to go down 10 seconds. So he's looking for a big play here or a field goal. Last possession of this drive. Might just be trying to draw an offsides or just taking that timeout with a couple seconds left to get this field goal going.
Yep.
More likely going to be the case. So this should be a 13-3 half for Shenandoah Esports, and you guys as the Shenandoah fans in chat gotta be happy with this scoreline, especially considering that he's gonna get kickoff at halftime.
Snuck it in.
Got a little close close to the bar, but I mean 13-3 half. looking fantastic going into this one.
Yeah, and of course, touched on it earlier towards the top of the show. We got some awesome HyperX stuff that we'll be giving away. HyperX, a huge component and proponent of this series here at the NACE Championship. So we're going to go to a quick break. We're going to get a word from HyperX, and we'll be right back after this commercial.
For that one, but going back into the second half of this first game, 13-3 so far. Shenandoah looking mighty strong on defense, trying to get a little bit of that offensive work going in this one. Pretty stuffed so far though, 3-13 and 3rd and 8 to come up here. Has wasted a decent bit of time though, and this is exactly what we were talking about in previous terms of ways to win. Get a good lead early and then play that 2 clock and try and just win through time management in the second half.
Being able to control this one, getting ahead early, and now moving the ball, still keeping it in play, in bounds, and just not doing anything like you're talking about. You don't have to force anything. You already have the lead. Don't make any errant throws. Don't make any rash decisions. Take care of the ball. Be responsible with it. And already up 10 points. Making a good drive put together here. Shenandoah, Dylan's looking really good here in this opening game.
Yeah, he's wasting so much time. Almost the entire quarter's gone, and he's just barely got it past midfield. He has plenty of space to still work with. Has 3 or 4 first downs if he wants it, and he's still putting the moves on Aaron Jones, getting a couple yards every rush so far. 19 rushes for 147 yards and a touchdown for Aaron Jones this game so far. I mean, obviously, going to be the MVP of the game in this one so far. I mean, you could maybe put it to Mason Crosby. A lot of field goals for both teams, but obviously going on 3rd and 6, looking to see if he's going to try and get a run. He's trying to get an offsides potentially. Got close there to trying to trigger that one, but just going to keep trying to play with the time here, play with the clock, and try to probably get a check down, get that first down going. And at this case, if he gets a first down here, it's looking to be already in the 4th quarter, and Tunyon's going to be able to find that to get that first down. And this is just going to, after one play, trickle into the 4th quarter. An entire quarter wasted to go 70 yards so far in this drive. I mean, this is exactly what Dill wants. He's playing perfectly. And this is what happened when he established that run game. He obviously got a huge touchdown earlier from it, but because he established it as well, he's getting a lot of time off the clock.
Jones pushing up upwards of 150 rushing yards in this game, and doing a very good job of holding on to this one, especially the lead and the ball. Maintained possession, wasted the entire quarter, a 10-point lead here going into the 4th, kept that clock rolling, continued to get first downs.
Huge.
Very efficient gameplay here from Dylan at Shenandoah, and just continued to roll, continued to burn this clock. And we talked about the inclusiveness of tight ends as well, getting both MVS and Tonyan in the mix. You know, both of them getting receptions here to continue this one on. But a 3rd and 8 here is going to be crucial for Shenandoah to, if not get this first down, make sure you get this field goal converted.
Yeah, MVS is a wide receiver, but that's all right. He looks like
he's
got a tight end number, and he's built like a tight end.
Yeah.
Not wrong. What a catch, by the way. Speaking of the man himself, MVS going to catch a nice pass there, bring it up to the 20-yard line. Still an opportunity for another first down. And this has got to be the most frustrating experience if you're Boise State. You're just seeing the clock bleed out. He's just constantly, slowly going up the field. Wasted in 6 minutes so far after getting kickoff to get to this point, and still has another opportunity for a first down. If Dill plays this correctly, this game might just end 3-16 or 3-13, and that is it. Like, this is the last drive. So Roger's going to keep getting the ball over to Aaron Jones, and he's really playing this really well. Already had that good lead early, and that's exactly what he needed to do. He's playing off of his strength. He knows once he has that lead, this is obvious that he knows how to protect it.
And doing a very good job at protecting it. And I like what you see Boise doing on the other side, trying to get his linebackers into the backfield, trying to stop these plays as fast as you possibly can. But these third down conversions are just brutal. Dylan getting every single one, continue to move this clock. We're already halfway through the fourth quarter. We've gone 15 yards. He could almost burn the rest of the clock just here.
Oh, if he gets that first down, it was definitely over. Maybe thinking about calling a timeout here to try and get back downfield, but this one's going to go down to the 2-minute warning on 4th and 2. So now he's just got to decide, how do I score 13 points? Because it's either going to be, an easy field goal or a chance at a touchdown. But I think if you're Dill here, do you go for the option of trying to convert on 4th and 2? That way you just win the game outright, or you just go for the 3 points on the field goal?
I go for the field goal in this position just because you're already getting the points. Just give the ball back. I think it's okay. I understand why you'd go on either side, because if you do turn it over, he's on the 12-yard line, maybe the 11. But I still take the points at this. Your defense has held sturdy throughout. You can rely on them. You've only given up 3 points in the entire game. I think you're able to rely on your defense to continue to stop Boise State, and I like this play call.
Yeah, I think it's important to get the extra 3 points. Obviously puts you out of a crazy one-pass touchdown range into a field goal in the next drive. So this obviously gives them a little bit more space, puts it at still a 2-score game, but it's now a touchdown instead of a field goal. So it is much more important. You're going to see A.J. Dillon, the big quads himself, trying to push through, gets to the 30-yard line with only 1:54 to work with. This is only going to be passing plays from this point on. You cannot run the ball. So now you can just play a strong cover defense and just play to the advantages of knowing that he has to throw deep or try to get to the sidelines here. And I think the main strategy here is going to be to try and get to the sidelines. Even if it's 7-8 yard passes, you just want to be able to not take time off the clock while getting some yardage downfield.
And this is great play call in the defense, backing everybody up way into the secondary, keep everything in front of you. You got to cover 3 going all the way back with the zone defense covering in front. Those corner routes are covered, so you don't let those 25, 30-yard out-of-bounds plays become an option. Very smart play call here from Dylan on Shenandoah.
And now with 1:45 Aaron Rodgers has to find some openings because his team is struggling too, but Austin downfield, that is a massive throw, getting him to the 28-yard line and out of bounds. Catching that one, getting them closer to a red zone opportunity here. I mean, that's huge. Obviously, catching that in general, Tavon honestly going to be happy about that one, but to also get that out of bounds and stop the clock is huge here. You're probably not going to see any Devontae Adams. I was going to say that, but he's able to make a nice route there. Got to go no huddle here and try and get this one immediately into a conversion, though. 1:25 ticking on the clock. Either has to throw this away or try and get this into the end zone. Aaron Jones at the 1-yard line. And that's rough. I mean, that's another 10 to 20 seconds off the clock, potentially on another play here. And he gets stuffed in the backfield.
Timeout.
And this has got to be one of those situations you have to consider a timeout, but he's still pushing through, trying to get this play to develop. And he's not going to have enough time unless he gets an onside kick and makes a strong recovery. It's still going to be rough.
That's a lot of reliance on an onside kick recovery. You get the hole there.
Oh, he had it.
He ran into a defender. He had it. Now you have to. There's no way. This is going to be a long shot. I cannot imagine any situation. You get the touchdown at least. You're still down. Another touchdown. You got to get this, but that drive took too long.
It did, yeah. I mean, that's just, we say it took too long. It's because Dill took too long to get down the field on his possession. He took it 8 or 9 minutes on just his one possession alone, almost 2 entire quarters. So this is all up to, and he's not going to go for the onside kick, just going to try and go for a miracle play here. He's got 3 timeouts, going to try and obviously hit stick this one to get this into a fumble, but he's not dropping that at any point. Lewis could be able to hold on to that. 23 seconds. I mean, this is almost victory formation, pretty much. So I'm interested to see kind of what's the strategy here, because you're not going to be able to get into the backfield as easily. And if he makes, obviously, 1 first down, the game's over. He might just try and run the clock out, obviously, from Aaron Jones. But yeah, now you got to hope Aaron Jones does not fumble. This would be the worst fumble of his career, would be right now. But we'll see what he can do. It's going to be Aaron Jones till the clock runs out. Just hoping for the best. Going to keep on holding it. Second timeout called. Still hasn't got a first down. If he stops him here, it gets dangerous once again. It's going to be 4th and 6 at that point. But Gotta just keep stopping this clock, and that's the last timeout possession. And if you're on the other side with 8 seconds, nice joystick movement. Not gonna give him the first down though. 12 seconds to work with. I mean,
You're saying there's a chance.
It's obviously rough to not go for that, but you're not going to put him on the 31-yard line in a touchdown range. So 12 seconds left. Going to tick down to, 5 or 6 after this reception. And it has to not go for a fair catch here. It has to try and get a movement, but tackled at the 13-yard line with 4 seconds and no timeouts. This is a dream play.
Yeah, this is the Hail Mary that you need. I mean, it's not going to be easy at all. Timeout's called. I find it very curious that you happen to go with a nickel 3-3-5 defense on the other side, and that's the defense that stops Aaron Jones from running the ball. Realistically, just doesn't make sense in my brain that that's what stops the run, but okay. Either way, comes down to this.
Yeah, he's got no corner routes. Obviously, the time ticking down. Rodgers is not going deep. He's going to find an interception instead, and that is the end of the game. A second pick for Shenandoah's defense and a third turnover in that game. Game 1 going to Shenandoah. Both of our predictions shattered just like that. But this, I said 2-0 because of their previous game, but it was a close game, and this just shows how close it was. Again, a 1-touchdown game. And that's just, that's kind of what's to be expected. Shenandoah, Dill is now 1 game off of winning the finals. This is a great opportunity for him. He's going to coast off that momentum.
Absolutely, and Boise gives all the credit there to Dylan that he's a good opponent, and the fact that apparently it was a close game during the regular season, a game we didn't get to spectate, but Dylan really showed up here, did very well early to establish that run, and then control the clock. You mentioned an 8 or 9 minute drive coming out of halftime up 10 points is just ruthless to the morale, the hope that Boise's trying to build up anything going on the offense. It's just very difficult to play from behind, especially when someone like Dylan is able to control the clock like that.
Yeah, and let's take a look at how he was able to control the clock in that game 1. Look at the highlights of how Dylan was able to manage to get that victory. And just a lot of that was due to time clock management, but he established the run early and just got on the board. As soon as that turnover on downs goes through and you get that second half ball, it was already Dill's game to control. He had all the opportunities in his hands. Obviously, we saw some deep balls trying to get to MVS, but that was the first interception of the game, a huge one in the end zone.
Yes.
And then Aaron Jones for 70 yards here, able to find some gaps in the joystick movement from Dill. Just amazing to get through that defense and absolutely shatter them. And then this is what Boise State tried to do all game long. That would have been a huge touchdown, which they ended up having to go for 3. So that could have been game-changing. They ended up losing by 6 points. Maybe could have got it down to 3 and tried to get in field goal range, but you saw at the end of that one, went out of bounds just barely. Rodgers stuck in this last scenario of the game, no time on the clock. Easy interception over for Dill. And that was just lockdown defense. And that's what happens when you don't establish the run. You get stuck on offense, and you're going to have to just keep throwing into coverage and hope for the best. And that's what we saw yesterday. It's what we're going to continue to see today if it happens.
Dylan did a very good job to establish that. Had 150 plus rushing yards there for Aaron Jones. On the other side, you got to see what Boise's going to do now. How do you stop that run in the first half? Alter that defensive setup. That for some reason the 3-3-5 is working to stop the deep with 5 defenders. That, albeit aside, AI just does things sometimes, but being able to stop that run is now going to be the important factor here for Boise. On the other side, you also have to be able to clean up that efficiency in the red zone. As you said, that huge pass down to MVS on the sideline, you get to the 7-yard line and only come away with the field goal, plus the interception in the end zone. That's 2 crucial possessions where you should have walked away with a touchdown, and unfortunately didn't.
Yeah, it's true. It's obviously that really shows how close that game was. It was 10-16 at the end of the game, but that one throw to MVS for Boise State could have been 7 points instead of 3, so the game's 4 points closer in that scenario, and now you're down by a field goal going into the last drive of the field, and now suddenly you have a chance maybe to get in the field goal range to take it to OT. So I think that's why these games we already expected were going to be this close, and why it really could have been coin flip on either side. I'm probably going to be interested to see the mirror matchup again, both teams seemingly confident with the Green Bay Packers and how the team operates. Obviously nice to have Aaron Rodgers throw power and a receiver like Devontae Adams who can run insane routes and still be able to make some great catches and plays. So I think that's going to be important, but it all comes down to if Boise State will establish that run offense, or if we see them at least establish a run defense against Aaron Jones, because that's obviously where we saw let loose for Shenandoah was Dill's ability with the joystick movement on Aaron Jones. Just got him in so many gaps.
Getting past the front seven, getting to that second level with the safeties, averaging 12 plus yards a carry is huge. To be able to do that, I mean, establishing a run game, sure, you get 4 or 5 yards, you're content with that.
Right.
When you're getting a first down almost every single run in those first 2 quarters, then there is nothing you're going to complain about from that side. But obviously now with the adaptations to come through here going into game number 2, I mean, these are competitors. Lacey just won the play versus yesterday, so he already knows, kind of what that mentality needs to be to go into game number 2 to try to bounce back, to try to find these answers that you're looking for. And while the mirror matchup is good, I'd like to see another one, but does it have to be the Packers? Like,
listen, people like the Packers.
Something else.
It's a good team on Madden.
Why? I get it, but why?
It's a good point. Let's see some Bengals versus Dolphins or Jets action. That's ideal.
There you go. Yeah,
that's what we want to see in the finals of a Madden tournament. But yeah, I mean, going into the second game, obviously this is a best of 3, so that does put Dill at match point going into the second game here. I really feel like he doesn't have to change much. His defense was great. He didn't have any worries. He was obviously the only player in that game with defensive turnovers to be able to get the interceptions and even a turnover on downs. So defense obviously locked down, and offense he played extremely well with Aaron Jones. So now you're looking at Boise State after a game 1 loss. How do they recover? It's got to be through run defense, and it's got to be trying to, if not establish Aaron Jones running, you have to be able to find that open receiver matchup, because now you're going to know if Dill studied that match, even was able to think about it during it. He knows that he's going to try and hit MVS going into that one-on-one matchup against Jair Alexander, because he's got the height and he's going to be trying to try and outpace him. So I think the game plan's, from my point of view, for Shenandoah, looking at Boise State, I think he should have it unlocked. So I think it should be a scary game too, unless Boise State's able to change something here.
And I think that's the biggest conversation factor, right? That Dylan doesn't have to change anything, whereas Wasey does. Then on the flip side of, okay, now you're in Dylan's seat, Wasey's going to try to change something up to try to find something different. So thinking forward into that, how do I adapt into what he's going to try to do to stop my run offense? How do I get more inclusive on the wide receivers I'm passing to? Because Funchess was a non-factor. MVS had a couple receptions. We saw Tonyan with a couple receptions on both sides. Like, there's so many options and weapons that this offense has that was not included in this. So maybe that's an option that you go to try to spread the defense a little bit out. We saw good efficiency on maximizing the holes on the zone defense. So there's plenty of openings that you're creating and able to find on the defensive side with so many weapons on the Green Bay offense. All assuming that they're still running with Green Bay. But this is, I think, again, just a reiteration. Dylan's in a good position right now. He's sitting comfortable, up 1-0 after a great performance in this one. So we're going back to the Superdome, back to the Green Bay Packers for game number 2, where now all of a sudden, Wasey's got to make sure he takes care of business, because this could be series on the line.
Yeah, we actually are going to see, though, Shenandoah once again with the kickoff advantage. So he's going to kick this away to Boise State. They did switch jerseys, so Boise State going to be on the green side and Shenandoah in the yellow jerseys this time around. Going to see a bunch of formation changes, and game number 2 about to be underway. Shenandoah going to try and play defense against Boise State here first. I'm obviously intrigued to see if Boise State does change something up here, because, I mean, there's a reason you have such a high win rate going into the finals. You have played extremely well, and even if you only play a very one-dimensional offense, he's got to be able to find those gaps, and that's exactly how he's gotten himself here. So that I'm very interested to see what he's going to change going into this match number 2. And now, if Shenandoah can just lock this down 2-0, I mean, obviously it goes against our predictions, but everyone in chat, I understand you guys don't like us for saying that Boise State 2-0, but if you listened, we said that there's a chance this goes 2-0 either way, or 2-0 either way. Like, we know that Shenandoah, if you're going into a finals, both teams are good enough to win the finals. That is the whole point. Rogers going to take a nice run here, though, to get to just about the 50-yard line. 48 on the other side. 19 yards established. Boise State once again establishing run offense, but not with Aaron Jones, as we've seen game number 2. But 30 seconds off the clock. Now we're going to see the first kind of attacking drive here from Boise State, trying to find open receivers, and going to just have to throw it away. This has been a constant thing so far. If he doesn't find Devontae Adams on the first read, look for MVS on the second read. If not, throw away. So it's been a very, very stale offense from Boise State, but it has worked in some cases and it will work in some cases as well if he can get MVS open. Going to motion him now, try and get him on a slant to the right side. And it looks like it might have an early slant cross. Has a lot of space, able to find that too. Not able to find the catch though, as he drops that one, bringing it to a 3rd and 10.
Yeah, that's a heartbreaker right there, getting that one broken up. A good route, you know, the coverage a little bit loose. That's a user-controlled secondary. So had the opportunity, but the other defender on the AI on the right side is the one that steps up right there. Trying to get a little, you know, across the middle, misdirection, but just not a great start here for Boise State. Pressure's getting to him as well. The sack down, that's going to have to be applied. I mean, there's no way you go for this, right?
Yeah.
Right? Okay.
Right. Yeah. 4th and 19, an easy sack to come through. Lockdown once again from Shenandoah's defense. First punt of the game so far and his first drive. And this is once again Shenandoah locking down on defense and just causing mayhem. I mean, once you have a defense like this, obviously it's a great punt. We'll get about the 8-yard line there, so he's going to put him in an awkward situation to try and run this one out. But we know that Dill has the stick movement to be able to run this one out of the 8-yard line. So you're probably going to expect something like a run here. Try and maybe stack the box because you know he's going to try and get that aggressive run to go through the middle. We have seen him try and go for a left or right pinch as well, but we will see if that is going to be the case. First offensive opportunity for Shenandoah, though. It is going to be the Aaron Jones show once again, I am assuming, because, I mean, you can't fix that kind of defense immediately. That's not something you can just be like, yeah, I know what to do now, where you could just stop the run defense the next game. You still have the great play from Shenandoah and from Dill that is going to be a struggle to go up against, even if you're able to use the linebacker to try and stop that run.
Yeah, I'm still not completely sold on the just reliability on the nickel defense. Obviously, understanding that there is a lot of wide receivers and options that you can throw the ball to, but just this early in the game, you just got to stick to something else, something more in the box. And only 3 down linemen here, spreading those linebackers out as well. I mean, sure, you're covering more distance, trying to contain Aaron Jones on these run plays if he does happen to take them, but I'm just not sold on this coverage right now. Great user pick, though.
Yeah, that is a huge pick to go over to Boise State. Going to get him, obviously, a great amount of field advantage right there. And a mistake from Dill to start game number 2, something we did not see at all last game, as Savage going to be able to pick that one off. User pick, finding that one in wide open space. And that is going to put Boise State once again in field advantage at the 15-yard line. So still plenty of room to work with. Still get a first down and try and push it into the goal with A.J. Dillon or Aaron Jones. You see a nice little dump off past Aaron Jones, but he drops it. A lot of drops so far, unfortunately, in Green Bay's offense so far on both sides, as we're seeing still the development of play. Even if this turns into 3 points, though, it is still a big mistake from Shenandoah, and a very weird one. We obviously didn't see it any in the first half. We didn't see it any in the last game. It's definitely something that he wasn't expecting going into this one, and it's a gift to Boise State. He's got to find some points here.
Yeah, has to come away with something because of those costly turnovers there in that first series, in the first game. That, you know, the interception in the end zone, only getting away with the field goal after a huge completion down inside the 10-yard line. But starting out field position like this,
Aaron Jones,
you got to find some points early.
Oh, found some points early indeed as he gets across the pylon to get that in for 6. So first points of the game going over to Boise State, starting it early. This is exactly what he needs, considering he got the first half kickoff once again. Unfortunately, didn't do it in his first drive, but a huge pick turns into 7 points. And that's something that Dill is going to be looking at in game number 2. If he goes down in this one, I mean, that's an unfortunate thing that he wasn't expecting to be so down early. He had a great defensive play in the first drive and then makes a small mistake on offense and throws an interception, now putting Boise State up again. This is what we're talking about. Don't throw into coverage. Try not to force throws. You have plenty of time to work with. If you're anybody but Dill on this game, you have time to work with. Dill is just going to chew your clock down the entire time. So, I mean, he's still got Aaron Jones. The run defense, or the run offense, is getting a little stuffed, though. It is only second run, but he's struggling a little bit more this game to get that offensive going. But there's plenty of time. It's still the first quarter. We're still halfway into the first quarter. He's still got some points, a chance for some points here to try and end the first quarter with something. But great defense from Boise State, obviously leading to that interception. Trying to start to understand here from Shenandoah what he's doing. And this is what is to be expected from both of these players. You're knowing nice pass to Devontae Adams, but you know that both of these players can adapt, and they will adapt when they need to.
Yeah, and I like so far what Wasey's doing on the other side of this. You know, recognizing where the offense is lining up, waiting for the package to show as to how many receivers and running backs, tight ends that is going to be in the set before selecting his defensive plays. The user control, trying to just find the open man that the AI is failing to cover and try to read that quarterback. But good job there by Dylan on getting behind on that pass completion prior to this play to find that open man coming across the middle to get the first down. But there has definitely been improvement from the Boise State side on the defense this game.
Yeah, it's definitely been an improvement on Boise State's side. As you see, another small gain of yardage there for Shenandoah as it gets to 3rd and 7. Only a 1-yard reception there for Tunyon. Now it's trying to find a first down here. Doesn't want to go back to punt formation on a 3 and out. Needs to find some yardage here, maybe to go on a 4th and short, but everyone is being covered. Savage going to find over the middle. Still has that option, but gets locked back down from the user. Had plenty of time, still has plenty of time. Austin's going to find room and bring it out to the sideline. Great pass. Waited enough time to try and get his wide receivers to make some plays, and Rogers able to find that throw deep on the left sideline. Get him to the 15-yard line. That is a huge play on a 3rd down to get him some points here in this game. Now looking at Aaron Jones running through the middle, trying to get 8 or 9 yards there. Establish that run game still. Obviously, we expected that coming out of the last game. On the 7-yard line, still has plenty of opportunity to get this one at least to a 1st and goal. Might try and get this last play of the quarter just to see, or try and trigger an offsides, but looks like we'll just be going into the 2nd quarter, 7-0 down on the goal line, 2nd and 2. Got to get some hype up for Shenandoah, for Dill here to try and score this one, to get this point break to be back to even. If this goes to halftime even, it's still, I mean, you're not expecting Dill to throw it away again, so you have to put advantage over towards Shenandoah, but obviously Boise State has made some great throws. You saw it again in this one as well. And on the defensive side now, finding an interception, living it up on both sides of the ball. This is going to be huge for Boise State to try and keep this lead.
Yeah, only 7 yards to work with. You know, you're going to have a lot of defenders really stacking up on top of each other. So as far as the pass plays go, you know, you don't really have to worry about necessarily leaving anything open because there's not a lot of space to work with. But you don't want anyone of the AI just kind of sitting home and watching as Aaron Jones plows straight through that front 7 to get to that 2nd level.
Yeah, we're going to see a 2nd and 2 conversion. Call it a timeout. Didn't like the way the play was stacking up, and a stacked box turns into a minus yard for Jones as it goes down to 3rd and 4. Loses a couple yards there on that rush, trying to still establish that run, but now the box stacking is real. Knowing that he's, had so much conversion rate on Aaron Jones, putting 4 or 5 in the box and pinching that line, making sure you can't run down the middle is going to be important here. See the blitz from King potentially coming on the side. We'll see if that does go through, but just going to go back to coverage. You see that user pick? I was just about to mention. He was just lurking there, waiting for it. Adrian Amos able to find another interception. Shenandoah with another risky throw into the end zone, leaving him without points once again.
And this is exactly on the other side what we saw Boise State doing in the last game, just costly turnovers in the red zone, not capitalizing on the points production. And now let's see if they can get out of this one. Probably should have taken the knee to get that touchback to get away from this end zone line, but now putting yourself back against the wall, you got to make sure you don't give up anything free like a safety and then give the ball right back. That's worst case scenario.
Yeah, you obviously, it's nice to have the interception, but definitely would have taken that touchback instead. Probably thought he had a chance to run that one back, but trying to look for an open receiver. Going to find a diving Devontae Adams. That's the reason you're playing the Green Bay offense. That guy right there is just an absolute monster when it comes to anything. Route running, catching, he's got it all. Makes it a 3rd and 3 and brings me to the 13-yard line, so opens up the field a little bit more for play. I was going to say looking at Aaron Jones for that receiving route, but going to find Devontae Adams wide open in the middle of the field, so that is going to bring some downfield passing, bring it down to the 32-yard line, and now there's plenty of space to work with here to try and establish this passing offense once again. Devontae Adams finding some open space. And now you see the user from Shenandoah is trying to cover Aaron Jones on these dump-off passes, and it's giving Devontae Adams the freedom to try and make a run. Tanyan with an aggressive, or Rogers with an aggressive throw to Tanyan, not able to find that one, gets deflected. Now you're going to see from the gun once again what Shenandoah might be able to do to stop this. And crazy, 2 interceptions from Shenandoah after making 0 mistakes last game. What do you think kind of happened? Do you think it's just pressure going into the second game? Do you think he just genuinely thought he had an open receiver?
I think Boise just absolutely stepped up on the defensive aspect, has found out, what you got to do, and is reading the offense and the defense just better. I think the awareness has just gone up on the Boise State side. I think he's just got kind of a good feel now for what Dylan is trying to do, is being able to even trick the AI as well as trick the user control in the defense to know which passes that he wants to take to continue this drive, to get out from his back against the end zone. And on the defensive front, just knowing where Dylan wants to throw to.
Wide open.
You have a wide open man.
MVS on the sideline with the stick move as well. Almost takes it down to the end zone, but that is going to be a huge conversion, bringing us to the 2-minute warning in the second quarter. MVS once again finding so much space. This is why he's trying to make these audibles and trying to move this around, trying to get MVS in open space, knowing he has the opportunity to do so once he starts double teaming Devontae Adams. Being able to have Marquez Valdez-Scantling, that's MVS if anybody was unaware, once he's able to get him in open field, knowing he can get some space. Even Tavon Austin finding some action as well.
Yeah.
And now going on the second try here on some points on the 5-yard line, going for a run for Aaron Jones, and so much space through the middle. That's going to be a 13, potentially 14-point gap at 2 minutes left in the second quarter for Boise State in game number 2.
Yeah, great drive right there, just being able to find that opening there in the middle of the zone. As we talked about pre-show, these offenses have so much opportunity to just find these holes in the zone, especially with so many weapons that the Green Bay Packers offense has, and just able to do that one, find it right between that crease of the linebackers and the secondary and the safeties, find MVS wide open. Beautiful setup. Excellently done to capitalize and come away with the touchdown as well. That's one of the falters that Boise State had in game number 1. So they're doing significantly better here in this game too.
Yeah, it's looking so much better, and this is kind of what was expected in the first game. I mean, going into this one, Boise State coming off a very impressive regular season, going into the playoffs here. Had a potentially earlier throw there, but not able to find it, so is just going to throw that one away. Shenandoah looking a little bit shaky on offense so far, which is very odd, and I think that's a lot to do with not being able to have Aaron Jones pop off like he did in game 1. Now it's getting shut down. He's stacking the box, pinching the line, making sure that he can't make these adjustments to try and get this game to go forth. Now going to have to try and find a lot more passing opportunities. Aaron Rodgers rolling out to the left, going to find an open receiver downfield. That's Tavon Austin. Now gets it out of bounds as well, so down to the 29-yard line. Needs a touchdown here to go into halftime. Obviously going to get the ball at halftime too, so if he gets 7 here, it's looking still pretty good for Shenandoah and Dill to try and come back in this game, but he's got to get 7 points here. 3 is not enough in order to try and get back into this one. He's had a wide receiver downfield, but is instead going to find Tanyan on an earlier pass. And the joystick movement going to find 7 as we see a touchdown to go through Hill and his movement. Once again, bringing him to 6 points with the extra point pending. 7 points now. That is a huge conversion. 7 points to 14 now. Still a minute and 36 seconds left, though. This is still an opportunity for Boise State to go downfield and score some points, especially with 3 timeouts.
That's a huge possession for Shenandoah, considering that they'll be trying to get the ball back here coming out of the half. But, same on the other side. We saw Boise State do it with MVS down in the corner, get in between the zone defense. Shenandoah answers right back. Instead of MVS, it's Tavon Austin, finds the hole, and then gets the user to bite, controlling that middle linebacker. Tanyan's wide open, and then just showing off the moves at that stick to get in the end zone. Well executed by Shenandoah. A little flashy play on the back end. And that's all you needed to do.
Exactly, but like we said, still time for Boise State to go downfield here. Devontae Adams finding 9 yards right there, and still going to try and find some later passes, either short or long, to Devontae Adams, and the rest of the receiving corps here for the Green Bay Packers. Has the dump action to Jones, and he's going to find it down the sideline. Doesn't get out of bounds, but does find the next first down and some yardage. Still looking good for Boise State to try and at least score 3 points here if they can move it upfield. 3 timeouts still obviously to work with as well, so has a few more plays on top of it to try and get this action going. Boise State looking to try and get some extra points. Finds Austin on the sideline, gonna get out of bounds with it as well. Another 8 yards right there. One of the last potential spark of the half here. With 34 seconds, see if he can get some extra points. You're seeing the trips offset once again in the gun formation. And playing a very aggressive man press coverage here. Could leave some room for some open receivers. Not now, though. Gonna have to throw that one away.
Had a very brief opening, but user control on that corner route was able to cover. And very close to that defender getting right up in Aaron Rodgers' face. Very smart to throw it away in time. Plus still all 3 timeouts. But 3rd and 2, you got to get something out of this one. It's still really long field goal at this point.
Yeah, like you said, I mean, still has plenty of time. Timeouts as well. Just needs 2 yards here. Might find Jones on the dump pass, but finds Austin there on the diving catch instead to get that first down. So gives them a little bit more time and space to advance into the second half with some extra points here. Definitely in field goal range now, just a little bit long, so would like to get maybe 5 to 10 more yards. Try and secure that one with Crosby. Gonna motion Aaron Jones to the left side here, try and get him on a route. Looks like trying to get some close sideline routes in case he needs to get out of bounds quickly here. Has MVS potential in the 1-1-1, but might find Davante Adams across midfield, which he does.
Okay.
Drops, though. Not able to come down with that, so a shocking drop for Davante Adams, but is going to mean it with 18 seconds left, still in awkward field positioning. And not used to Davante Adams finding a drop there, so that is pretty important that Shenandoah able to make that drop. But he's still got to make sure he can at least hold him to 3 points here. If not, try and not let him get any, but Austin's going to find so much field space here. Definitely he's going to lead to at least 3 points, but 10 seconds and a timeout. This could lead to 7 still.
That's a great crossing right over the middle. You had Adams going right to left, Austin going left to right. One of them's going to end up open after that cross in the middle. Ends up finding the one where you had receiver stacked left. Very smart play. Good heads-up play from Boise.
That's a wide open Aaron Jones on the sideline, leading to a touchdown as well. That is going to be a 6-point, now 7-point gap for Boise State as they get another touchdown in this one, bring it up to 21-7 at halftime. And that's what happens. I mean, obviously it's an exciting touchdown from Dill and Shenandoah, but you left 1 minute and 30 seconds for Boise State to go downfield with 3 timeouts. It's something that they're going to be able to do, and it is what happened there. With 7 seconds left in this one, Shenandoah looking for a Hail Mary pass, essentially, to try and get this one to get at least in some field goal position. But with 4 seconds left or 5 seconds to do that with one timeout, not looking as easy.
Going to be one singular long shot here. But I think they get the ball back at the half. Shenandoah going to get possession once more. So keep everything in front of you on the defensive front. Going to be an easy adjustment to make. Send it down. Ends up getting intercepted.
Has to be scared of, making this 6 points here.
Oh.
Has some
Those
opportunity.
are all offensive linemen.
Oh. Pay that man some extra money. He just ran for his life to stop that from 6 extra points.
Yeah, with that, of course, a halftime good drive there by Boise State to close that one out. So with this opening kickoff, second half, we're going to be right back after a word from our sponsors.
There's one crucial question that you must ask when interviewing. What type of concerns do you have in moving me forward in the process? This question is critical for a few reasons. One, it lets you know where you stand. How many times have you been through an interview and then you say to yourself, I think it went well, or I'm not sure how I did? 2, it gives you an opportunity to tactfully rebut any concerns that the interviewer may have, live and in person. Once you hang up the phone or leave the office after the interview, you lose the opportunity to explain yourself. And 3, it shows the interviewer that you are serious about getting the job. You need to ask this question at every step in the interview process to increase your chances for success.
All right, second half action to come underway. Huge shout out to eHire, of course, and the rest of our sponsors for making this happen. But for the second half, ball in the hands of Shenandoah, and Dill here has to make something happen. Got to get Aaron Jones back and running. It's exactly why he did so well in the first game. obviously a huge change of pace in this one. 7 for 23 instead of 10 for 120 as he was last game. So a big change. Boise State doing really well to be able to lock down Aaron Jones on the line. But he's still going to be able to find some room. Nice hit stick to go through, but not going to find a drop out of Aaron Jones. Another 7 yards. And while he is down 14 points, it is nice to still establish that run because it is still going to give you options for play actions. Talked about this earlier. Open up this field a little bit more to get a little bit more development for your receivers and to maybe try and take this user to commit to a run. But they're going to stop him behind the line. Loss of 1 here for Aaron Jones. 3rd and 4 to come up. Shenandoah needs points here. Obviously, the second half kickoff is extremely important, especially when he's down 14.
You need a lot. A great job.
Dangerous.
Took one out. Ooh. Left that one hanging. Certainly would have been huge game to leave it for the defender to step up to make that interception. That would have gone a long ways the other way.
And an important decision to come through here. 4th and 4, going for it as he should. Has to find some points, and this is going to be one of his opportunities to do so. So he needs to make a conversion. Might find a dump-off pass to Aaron Jones or a short pass in general, but a lot of receivers not finding the open space. Aaron Rodgers maybe trying to go for a run. Almost got the swat down, but does find a lob over that defender to find that first down. That is a huge play. Got a little sketchy there to Aaron Rodgers getting deflected and that being turned over on downs. And if that goes a turnover on downs, I think Boise State just runs the clock out like we saw from Dill last game and just makes it extremely hard for Dill to make a comeback. So that is a huge conversion on 4th and 4.
Being able to get that one, just psych out that defender and continue to put yourself in a position where you're going to continue to run down not only the clock, but also down the field. And, you know, this time around, Shenandoah was in a different position for game number 1, you know, where you could run down the clock. This time, you have to make sure that you are using that clock wisely because you are down that 2 touchdowns. So you cannot waste this clock the whole time because, frankly, back against the wall, just like we saw Boise in game 1, it's hard to play from behind.
Oh, the movement. Not going to find anything, but finding some time and obviously having to uncommit from the run game sucks because it worked so well for Dill in game 1, but he doesn't have the time to establish that in this game here. Down 14 points. Maybe if this was 7 to 14 or 14 to 21, Dill can maybe waste some time off the clock and try and get this to overtime or tie this game up and try and stop him on defense, but has to keep continuing with the pass offense here with Aaron Rodgers, trying to get Aaron Jones involved, and a fumble comes through, but Tavon Austin, the hero on this team so far, still up 2, goes from a fumble recovery and potentially a loss of 10 to 15 yards to gaining no yards and just equalizing that at this line of scrimmage. Tavon Austin, the hero for Shenandoah right there, picking that one back up after Aaron Rodgers' fumble. Almost a 3rd turnover, a rare opportunity for Boise State, but Rodgers using the offensive line well. Gonna find a dive here. Doesn't find it. Got a little scary, but still finds 7 yards. 3rd and 3 to come through. Shenandoah still needs 7 points here, so we would like at least this first down to try and convert this into a touchdown opportunity. Big nickel defense comparatively come from Boise State. Seeing a stacked line on both sides here. Looking to try and maybe push this one in with A.J. Dillon or with Aaron Jones. It's going to be an Aaron Jones run, and he gets stuffed at the line, gets 1 yard, so doesn't find the first down. 4th and 2. You can't really stick with 3 points here. You have to try and convert on this.
Very interesting in the sense that you see the I formation, and we've only seen that a couple of times between yesterday's competition and today, and that was on the goal line with this exact team, and it was just a fullback dive. We saw a couple fullback dives with tight ends lined up at fullback as well, but I formation only at the X and goal with a yard or 2 to go, and have not been able to convert very efficiently. And that's huge.
Is a game winner basically as that sack goes through on 4th and 2 to stop any advantage from Shenandoah to get back in this game with only 18 seconds left in this 3rd quarter and 5 minutes in the 4th. This is looking like a shoot clock. Aaron Jones back in the action for Boise State. Obviously not an impressive run line there for Aaron Jones, 3 for 6 and a touchdown, but still he's going to be a major factor in this last quarter of the game to just waste some clock off of Shenandoah. And this is looking like a Game 2 win for Boise State, bringing it back to an equal series. Not surprising. We knew this was going to be extremely close, with Boise State looking impressive here, but also on the other side, Dill making some small mistakes on Shenandoah, finding a couple of interceptions early and really turning the ball over when he should have had a couple of points. So pretty rough so far, but Boise State going to keep advancing the ball and keeping waste on time in this fourth quarter.
Yeah, being able to find and get that one across the middle, get that first down is huge. And that's pretty much the difference maker of this. If you're able to get this drive to continue and get a couple of first downs, then I think that's going to be about enough to run this clock all the way down here. But same thing we saw Dylan on Shenandoah doing in the last game. Run that play clock all the way down, 2-3 seconds left.
Don't need
Take
to do
care of the
that.
ball, though. You have to be responsible to make sure you don't fumble and don't throw any silly interceptions. And throwing into triple coverage, call that one very lucky to get away with.
All Boise State has to do is run this clock down. While he might not advance up the field, he wastes another couple of minutes from Shenandoah getting an extra drive. That was almost an interception. Could have been game-changing if that was to go through, really through into triple coverage, and not even the receiver there got very, very close to a potential turnaround point in this game. But trying to look for a first down now, going to get immediately pressured and going to have to throw that one back down. So 4th and 10, a punt going to come through from Boise State. Shenandoah has, that's a great stop on defense. Now has to try and find 7 points quickly here to try and make another stop on defense.
Just launch this one as far as you possibly can and try to pin them back as far as they can. Great punt. That's one thing that apparently Wasey's really good at, is pinning the opponents way back on the field, getting that one down to the 13 as well. So making a very long field here for Shenandoah. 3.5 minutes is still a decent amount of time to work with, so Shenandoah is certainly not out of this one yet, but Wasey doing a good job to make sure it's as difficult as possible.
Yeah, an interesting strategy from Boise State. Obviously, we saw it from Dill last game, just ran the ball clock 7 or 8 minutes in the third and fourth quarter. And now he's trying to figure that out from here, but a sack comes through. A rough 6-yard loss there. Struggling on offense has been the understatement for Dill here in this game, as he's just making a couple of mistakes and now can't find the open receivers because the rushing game got stopped early.
This a great mirror matchup in the sense that you look in the stats. I mean, both these teams, they've allowed about the same amount of yardage, about 190, well, a lot more now.
Yeah, we see a huge play to Marquez Valdez-Scantling, and that might turn into 6 points. Does hit him with the juke move.
Okay.
And that is an extra 7 points on the board. Shenandoah not done yet. Still plenty of time in this game, and Boise State didn't seem to be wanting to run the clock out. 2 plays, 87-yard drive. Oh boy, this suddenly turned into a game.
3.5 minutes is a lot of time to work with, and you only needed 40 seconds to get back down one single possession. Lacey's got to make sure to burn the clock as much as he can, continue to get these first downs. 3 timeouts and the 2-minute warning to work with here from Dylan's perspective. So certainly an opportunity to get this defense to step up and stop Boise State here and now.
2 minutes and 44 seconds. We're still seeing a heavy pass offense from Boise State, which is not going to stall any time. But Tunyon's going to be able to do that, keeping that in bounds. Almost fumbled, got a little scary, but able to keep that one in. This should go down to the 2-minute warning with that accelerated clock.
Yep.
And now with 2 minutes left, 3 timeouts on both sides. Shenandoah has to find a conversion here, but the thing is, Boise State's not giving it up. I would actually say they are giving it up. They're not running the ball. They are instead going for passing plays and still making some risky throws. So this is definitely still in the cards here for Dill to try and make this and take this into a take this into an overtime. And we are going to see the Aaron Jones on the rush here. Going to get stopped at the line, but it is going to waste some time. First timeout to go through from Dill. And now's that question where do you just make him use the rest of his timeouts? Still try and go downfield. Looks like he might still be wanting to run this one down with Aaron Jones, but we see another passing play once again. This is going to be a dump off to Tunyon for a loss of yardage. And another timeout to go through. 3rd and 9 with 1 minute and 50 seconds left. This is plenty of time to work with for Dill here if he ends up with the ball with even around 1 minute left.
At this point, just look for 5-6 yards to gain, if not the first down, to try to find something to continue to burn this. Burn that last time out. That's the most important thing, is to burn this last time out. Yeah. Almost at the 50-yard line, you can basically put this one down into the corner if you're not going to punt this, and put him inside the 5. You already know that Shenandoah can do some work. They can make a very long play very quickly, but Boise played that one about as well as you possibly could in a 4th down situation.
And that is unfortunate, as that punt goes down in the end zone. Almost a 1 yard down, but instead it brings it back to the 20-yard line. Suddenly this is doable for Shenandoah. Keep this offense going. 1 minute and 36 seconds. Got to get the ball on some corner routes to the sidelines. Try and keep this one out of bounds once he gets those receptions. If he makes the 6 points, do you think he goes for OT, or do you think he takes the extra point? Oh, a huge throw downfield, but MVS is going to stare at that one as it goes above his head. 2nd and 10 now. An aggressive throw. I mean, he wants that upfield gain. Almost had it, just a little bit overthrown from Aaron Rodgers. Still looking for those downfield passes, though. You've seen a cover 2 defense, man coverage coming out from Boise State.
Timeout called here on the defensive front, and I'm curious to see now what kind of pass defense Boise's going to start to put through, because obviously you're not going to see a lot of runs with no timeouts left for Shenandoah. You're going to have to keep things towards the sideline. Long ways to go if you can't get behind the defense.
Yeah, nice little pancake on the offensive line there. Is going to find Tavon Austin over the middle. Does lose a little bit of yardage there. Going to have to no huddle this one on 3rd and 2. Try and find an opportunity here and try and see what he can make this play into. We see Aaron Rodgers at the line. And is going to just take that flag. Obviously was in that kneel formation, so not exactly, didn't want to spike that and turn it into a 4th down here.
Yeah.
50 seconds
down
left.
though.
Yeah, I mean, it's just crazy. It was 3rd and short. Now it is 3rd and 7, so a little bit longer of a range to try and get this one to convert here. And now we'll
coverage.
Yeah, we'll got to see what he can do. Try and get this one to the sidelines I've been talking about on the corner routes. But an immediate user sack to come through might stop all advantage on Dill's side as a 4th and 16 to drop into this action. Huge for Boise State on that rush up the middle, finding that open gap.
20 seconds. That's a lot. Long way to go. Not a lot of time. Got to back this defense up. Everyone in zone. You have the option on the side.
Oh no, MBS with 10 seconds left going downfield. No one's going to be able to find him either.
No way. No way.
Dill takes this one to the end zone with 5 seconds left on the clock. Somehow finds that pass with 4 seconds remaining. And he's going to go for the extra point. Going to try and ice the kicker here. Unbelievable throw and catch from Shenandoah to try and get this into overtime to try and win this series in 2 games.
Defense had backed up, playing in the zone. You had the single onto the right side. They just got left chasing. He's going for the win now.
Oh, he's going for the 2-point conversion. He said, man, I was already down. I might as well go for this now. 4 seconds left. 2-point conversion to come through. Aaron Rodgers gets stuffed.
Game 3.
Not going for overtime. We are going to a game 3. I like the aggression. Doesn't pay off, though. Wanted to win this in 2. We're going to see a game 3.
Small squib waste this time. Enough. Maybe 1 second? Yeah. Okay, run out of bounds as fast as you can. Still going to a game 3 either way, but yeah, victory formation this one and take the knee. Well played there by Shenandoah. I can't believe that MVS just got by the whole defense like that. Just defense was a little too far pushed up. The zone just could not get back in time, and being able to skirt through just like that to go all the way down. A very close game, like as far as the yardage goes, until those 2 huge pass plays break free on the Shenandoah side. But even this series up 1-1, this is a series. Boise said his opponent was good, and he knew it was going to be a close series. We both predicted the 2-0, and here we are going to game 3.
Yeah, now you are in that scenario where if he takes that 1 point and they go into overtime, does this turn into a 2-0? If he loses game 3, It all goes down to that. It straight up goes down to that decision to not try and take that to OT and instead try and just go into that one with the win. Crazy decision at the time. You obviously saw the timeout. Didn't want to go with the ice kicker field goal, so just or the extra point attempt. So just decided to go with that 2-point conversion with Aaron Jones, but got stuffed. It's a tough decision, but I mean, I feel like most of the time taking that to OT might benefit you more to try and just stop him on defense, because he has stopped him pretty well on defense in the last game. This one, not so hot in the first half, but after that, locked him down in the second half on defense. And it was really a Shenandoah game in the second half in comparison to what had happened in the first half. So, I mean, crazy going to game 3. It really will go down to that decision in the last 4 seconds of the game to go for 2 points instead of 1. And this is what we expected out of this series for the first NACE Madden Finals.
Yeah, and being able to have the offensive production on both sides of this, and stopping. This is a tale of two games, right? Game 1, it was a huge run game for Shenandoah, just being able to put up 130 yards in the first half off of like 10, 12 carries. So a phenomenal showing of that run offense from Aaron Jones. But game number 2, Boise stepped up, locked it down, did not let Aaron Jones set anything up, and was able to really stop that. I still can't believe that. He broke through the defense on that play. MVS had 2 huge receptions coming out of that and really kept Shenandoah in this game. So well played for Dylan to be able to stay in the conversation, coming down from 2 touchdowns, get right back in the mix, and down a single point there to walk away with the L, unfortunately, in that one for himself. But with game 3, the momentum there in the fourth quarter really leaning to Shenandoah. This now goes to a coin toss. The way Boise played in first 3 quarters was really well, and then Shenandoah steps up quarter 4, flip the coin. I don't know who's going to win.
And you got to think, does that come down to Boise State not using time management enough and not chewing the clock? Because he gave him a lot of time to try and come back in that game, in which he did come back in that game. So I feel like once you're Boise State, obviously it's not much of a run-heavy offense, but you got to chew some clock when you're going into the fourth quarter up 14 points. Even if you don't want to run, even if you go 3 and out, to get an extra minute off the clock is huge, and obviously would have saved that game from even going down to a situation like that. So got very scary, but we're going to take a short break before we get to game number 3. Don't go anywhere. Fantastic Madden action coming up after this. Welcome back, everyone, to, of course, the 2021 Championship Series for NACE as we get into the PS Finals here for Madden. Dill, of course, on Shenandoah, and the player for Boise State, Boise. I mean, going to Game 3 in this best of 3. After that finish, 20-21 with a 2-point conversion going amiss in Game 2, I feel like momentum realistically is in both of their favors right now going into this, because obviously the comeback is real from Dill. He's going to have that passion and momentum from Game 2, but Boise State won that game at the end of the day, so he still has that momentum from playing a very good first half. The only issue was the second half looked a little bit lackluster. Kind of Shenandoah and Boise State switched halves basically in that game. I felt like Shenandoah had a rough first half, turned it on in the second. Boise State just flipped that around. So I think going into game number 3, it's going to be a fantastic game. I think we're going to be seeing a lot of the same similar outage, but can Boise stop the run game from Shenandoah once again? Because that's really what locked him down in the first half.
One, 10 rushes, 120, 130 yards to game 2. 8 rushes, 35 yards, maybe. Like, it's a tale of two completely different Green Bay offenses from the Shenandoah side. So Boise, great adjustments from game 1 into game number 2. Dylan did a phenomenal job to storm back in game number 3, or in game 2's fourth quarter, to come away and put us here to game number 3. But too little, too late there. I still respect the call to go for 2. You're a genius if you make it, unlucky if you don't.
Exactly.
And alas, here we are.
Exactly. That's why I respected it so much as we go back in the Superdome this game. That's how I respected it so much. I mean, you either go for the 2-0 and people are like, I can't believe he made that play. What a crazy guy going to the finals, goes for 2. And even if you lose this series, I still got to give props to Dill, man. Going for in the second game, you're up a game already, so you have a chance to lose that game. And he wasn't even supposed to come back in that one. Like, the fact that he even got to that point was amazing from him with that stick work, the light work from the stick work that we saw from him on offense. I mean, got him so many opportunities, got him way downfield. Now we're seeing Aaron Jones for Boise State going to start with the ball here. A little dump off pass for 6 yards, but let's hear what you guys in chat have to think as well. Let us know who you think is going to take game 3 of the NACE Championship Finals here for Madden on the PlayStation. Almost a dangerous pass. Does come and convert, though, for 2 extra yards. Brings it to 3rd and 2. Boise State trying to convert into some points here on their first possession of the game.
And that one nearly swatted down, only a couple yards, but the first 3rd down appearance, quick one to the side. Tavon Austin, a huge component of this offense in that last game, had over 150 receiving yards for Green Bay, but Green Bay on the Boise State side. So a huge aspect that is going to be capitalized on here, and really didn't see a lot of the tight end play. Tonian, kind of a non-factor that last one, but between Austin and MVS, those are the 2 playmakers we saw the most out of a game 2, or game 1 it was all Aaron Jones, a little bit of Devontae Adams. So I'd like to see more inclusiveness of the wide receivers, get them in there, and see what can go on to spread this field out a little bit more.
Yeah, I have to figure out how to do so. Obviously, you're not getting the run game involved. A lot of time is going to be in favor for Shenandoah. If he gets that early lead, it is maybe game over, but that might be the early lead in general. The user pick coming through for Shenandoah as Savage finds an interception back to the lockdown defense. And this is exactly what Dill needs for game 3 to start that with a turnover. And I mean, what can you expect? He was on lockdown defense in game 1. Great in the second half of game 2, and then just brought that into heat for game 3.
Yeah, being able to jump that route, just camping it, staying home over the middle, trying to find that emergency relief valve for the offense, and being able to read the mind, basically, of Boise in the same way Boise was doing there in game number 2, just understanding where Dill wanted to go with the ball, and got a couple of crucial interceptions, crucial turnovers there in game 2, as well as knowing how to find holes in the defense that eventually Dill would do as well in the later stages of game number 2, trying to find those holes, especially with MVS just getting behind the secondary. But this time around, it's Dill on this side, reading Boise like a book, getting that user pick, setting them up here, trying to see if they can get away with the first points.
Man, I'm so excited for today. This is only the first best of 3 that we have all day. Of course, me and Trevor are going to be on FIFA later as well. And, of course, the Xbox finals for NACE after this one. So plenty of action still to come up. If you guys love some sports game action, it's going to be all day today for the NACE finals here. But as far as this game goes, into game 3 in this best of 3, 0 points on the board for both teams, but a huge interception coming through from Dill on Shenandoah to be able to maybe cap off some points and cap off this drive with some extra points that he was not expecting. Had Devontae Adams wide open in the middle and finds him for a 24-yard gain. Huge pass from Aaron Rodgers. Devontae Adams going to put him in the potential scoring position here as he looks to go downfield with 31 yards to go. Aaron Rodgers going to get that ball as we normally see. His offensive lineman going to take him down, unfortunately. But we do see that he is still trying to incorporate the run game, trying to get Aaron Jones involved. You can't give up on that, obviously, especially early into this game. You have some opportunities here to get Aaron Jones back in this one, try and get some good. And we know his stick movement's fantastic, so running the ball with your running back, if you got good stick movement, you can put some absolute ankle breakers on some people. But MVS on the corner route going to find another 10 or so yards there. Brings another first down, puts him at the 17-yard line. Clock is ticking, but this is a great scenario for Dill to start this game.
Yeah, that quick comeback to MVS on the sideline, that's one of those routes where you've already read the defense, because after the play action, there's no time to make that read. You're sending that ball as soon as he hits the top of that route to come right back to you, and you just got to hope that he's the only one there and the corner doesn't jump that route.
Audible to a run there, it looks like, after reading the defense. You saw Boise State try and fix the defense up as well in comparison, but Aaron Jones found a huge rush through the middle. A very stacked I formation here, going to probably turn into a rush, as you're going to see the blitz and the stacked line come through for Boise State to try and stop this. It's going to be an A.J. Dillon rush, though, to try and get that first down. We know he's a very, very big power back, able to push that one through when he needs to, and does find that first down. Going to be a first and goal from the 7-yard line here. Still back in I formation, still trying to score with one of the running backs here, but that's the ability that Green Bay has. You have A.J. Dillon, you have Aaron Jones, and you have a hit stick to the mouth as Aaron Jones loses a yard there, but you do have a very, very good offensive setup.
Yeah, and I like the idea of the I form, but I don't know necessarily if this far out it's going to work too much to your favor. Granted, not a whole lot of blocking tight ends here for the Packers, but the fact that you still have 2 really solid backs there, just get a little bit closer to the line, or to the goal line rather, and I think you're better off at this point. We've seen the success that they've had with Rodgers in the gun, with the handoffs to Aaron Jones there in the backfield, and I think you just don't need to change it from there.
Oh, what a great play action. Turns into a touchdown. Number 81 on the Green Bay Packers going to find 6 points for Shenandoah. A very smart play action call. He obviously keeps thinking he's going to try and rush that ball in. Takes it into a play action, finds a wide open receiver. 8 plays for 54 yards. Going to put Dill and Shenandoah up in game number 3.
And that is exactly that you talk about. In I formation, he's run the ball every single time. All 3 games, you're in I formation, he's run the ball. So calling the play action there, it's just the big brain. It's the long con. You know, you've been building up to this across these first 2, almost 2.5 games at this point, and you got him to bite. You get the tight end across the middle. It's an easy touchdown. First points there, just at the tail end of the first. Good start here for Dylan and Shenandoah.
Going out of the first quarter into the second. Now we see Boise State wants to try and answer back with the run game. Does drop and break 1 tackle, but immediately finds a second. So a minus 3 yardage there rush for Aaron Jones. I respect trying to get the rush game. Probably not going to go back to that at all this game, though, as he finds the trips formation once again. Trying to find an open receiver, usually MVS in this kind of scenario. Savage going to be all up on him, but MVS has so much room, and he's going to have the sideline to work with. Not able to juke out that tackle, but finds a huge gain of yardage there. Boise State goes up in positive field yardage here. They're on their 34 now. Plenty of time still left in this quarter as well to work with. And MVS has found quite a bit of space for Boise State on some of these trip runs, and has been a very, very key factor to why this offense is working out in this one-dimensional offense, not having the run scheme in there as much, but To still find success while only running a very pass-heavy offense is very impressive. And obviously he knows exactly what he needs to do. Finds another short pass to Aaron Jones for 14 yards. Brings him down to the red zone, 20-yard line here. And potential points here for Boise State leading into halftime.
And I like what we see Shenandoah do every single time.
MVS
as
again.
soon as they get to the line of scrimmage,
MVS
easy
with
touchdown.
with 6 points again, and it's the exact same kind of play call where he just goes into a 1-on-2 coverage and then just starts running slant left and then just runs away from the two receivers. Aaron Rodgers is going to always dot him up in a drive like that. Just going to be able to easily throw that in front of MVS and leads to a touchdown. So that is a answer back in points for Boise State. 3.5 minutes left on the clock for Shenandoah. Still to find some points here, though. It was always nice. Of course, you have Lewis on kick returns. Don't want to have any fumble mistakes happen. Usually, you always see people in normal Madden games, they'll have their fastest guy on kickoff returns, try and go for a crazy run back. But in a situation like this, you want no chance at a fumble. Want to make sure you have someone that can cover the rock and keep that going. But Dill back with Aaron Jones here. Back with some small yardage gains back on the offense. Obviously going to get the ball at halftime. One timeout left in this one. Probably going to try and, I would assume he's going to try and milk the clock here to try and get this to be the last possession of the half. But we will see if he, of course, has to get the first down in order for that to work. So we'll see if he's get theirs first. But Devontae Adams always going to find some open space for that. Rodgers 4 for 4, 58 yards and a touchdown. Perfect day for him so far for Shenandoah. And Dill going to go back to that running game. Try and get some time off the clock here. Finds a decent bit of yardage there as well. And back in the driving force of Shenandoah here.
and that's all you got to do from the Shenandoah side is, you don't have to average 12 yards a carry like you did in the first game. Just get these small little chip shots, get 4 or 5 yards a carry, keep that clock running, make this the last possession and be in control for the rest of this half. And, seeing now these adjustments made from Boise State that we see Shenandoah do it a lot, pressing up and getting a lot of players up on the line of scrimmage to pressure this, whether it be man or zone, just to show the pressure. But unfortunately, in the circumstances that you're now putting yourself right at the mercy of these offensive linemen and the lead blockers. And Aaron Jones picking up a huge amount there, still chipping away. This is a very good drive by Dylan.
Yeah, he's finding a lot of space in the run game and now can maybe try and turn that over to pass game. It now makes him stack the line. So this is something I was talking about earlier. Once you establish that run game, take a defender off of one of your receivers and put it in the line instead. Makes it a lot easier for you to find an open receiving route, either short or deep in this kind of scenario. Minute left on the clock. Dill just trying to waste as much time as he can. Goes back to the run, and Aaron Jones finds more room and a first down. Only one timeout, but still has 50 seconds to work with, so Dill still going to try and get 7 points here. As you might see him run back to a pass option here. That way he can stop the clock. But, Dill, he's not going to do that. He's going to go back to running game, gets 4 yards there. Aaron Jones with a much better game this time around, 4.6 yards a carry so far. But it's running a little bit out of time, 25 seconds with one timeout. Wondering if he's trying to just go for a field goal here.
These little inside draws are just absolutely killing Boise right now. And just being able to destroy this clock and just chip away at the fatigue here. Fatigue is on in this game mode. So the defense on the Boise State side is just absolutely exhausted at this point, and giving Aaron Jones even more yardage to just get this push back further and further. So gets exactly what he wants, is able to control the clock for the rest of the half. Going to try to walk away with 3 here, I'd imagine. Try to hold on to the lead going into halftime.
Yeah, and obviously going into halftime, running the clock so he can get that field goal. It's going to be a fantastic spot for Dill to be in. He knows he wasted enough time to just get a field goal, puts him ahead in the score as well as getting halftime kickoff. This is very much a game in the hands of Dill to lose now. Just got to see no mistakes like we saw at a game number 2 and look like a concentrated game number 1 from Shenandoah and Dill TV. And this is looking like a strong performance for Shenandoah here in this best of 3 finals. Lewis going to get hit stick, but not going to drop the rock as he keeps on pushing on. This is once again, though, Dill with the lead and with the time management we've seen in the past. He's in his exact play where he wants to be. He's got extra points. He's got the time. He's got Aaron Jones running really well this game. And this is his limelight to be in, is being able to waste some time off the clock, try and get some run game going.
yeah, being able to burn that entire clock, get the 3 points to come back here, get the ball again in halftime. It's right where Shenandoah Dillon wants to be. He did a very good job there to close out that half. And now just trying to march down the field, put him up a few more points in this second. A great start here, taking control of this game, and now just got to burn this. This is the keys to victory that I pointed out at the beginning of this show. Get the lead early, take control of the clock.
And now we see going into the third quarter here, 4 minutes left, still some time to work with. Dill obviously wanting to take some time off of this one, so Boise State doesn't have an immediate answer in return. Savage is going to get tripped up there, and that is going to be a rush for a first down. We'll just see that is going to be another conversion for them. It's 10-7 is going to be the score line here. Plenty of opportunity still for Shenandoah to find some points. Plenty of time as well. He's going to try and keep using that time clock. And now we see a rush to come through. Once again from Aaron Jones, but a nice user tackle for loss going to come through. It's going to be another decent point advantage there. We are going to be seeing Green Bay back in the opportunity, and Dill has to find either some advantage here. Gonna maybe try and find an Aaron Rodgers rush. Does avoid on the tackle, and he's going to find 10 yards. Potentially close to a first down. He's going to be at 3rd and 2, so not looking too rough there. And we're going to see how this play does develop. 2 minutes and 40 seconds just about on the clock after this play.
Burning this one way down very early on in this opening possession. Exactly what we saw in game number 1. A great showing here from Dylan Shenandoah. I mean, he burned 8-9 minutes in the 3rd and 4th quarter in game number 1 to be able to take this capitalization, hold on to this lead, and not even give Boise any chance at all to get possession back and try to take a lead in this. And the fact that Dill still is able to convert on these 3rd downs, convert to get these, hold on to possession, and continue this clock ticking all the way down. It's the same generic play calls. You get a lot of these halfback draws going up the middle, and there's not an answer that Boise has found yet. So being able to have this time and time again, doing the same thing, left or right side, pick one, whichever side you find the weak side on, and Dill is doing a phenomenal job at reading this defense, controlling this game, controlling the clock as well, and making sure to eventually walk away with this one. You got that close there in game number 2 to close out with that 2-point conversion that unfortunately fell short, but getting ahead here now, able to get themselves into a position now. Try to hold on for the 2-1 victory. A lot of motion again, but still the same handoffs. Once again, Aaron Jones with a huge break, nearing up towards the 30-yard line for 31. So another first down. We're going to be at the end of the... This is almost exactly where we were in game 2. Into the 3rd quarter, about the 30-yard line. Another couple of plays. And we're going to be breaching the whistles into the 4th. Bill's doing a phenomenal job on this drive.
And a minute left. I mean, there's a lot that he still has to work with going into the 4th quarter. And this is what we saw. This exact time management in game 1 is why he won the game so easily. He was really able to just keep running the ball down, keep wasting a lot of time, and it made it very difficult for Boise State. Because obviously the lockdown defense, when it's there, it's so good. I mean, this is exactly what he's looking for.
A little delay game. Taking back a little bit, but burning all the clock as much as you possibly need to. And even moving back 5 yards, like that's not a problem to have because you just have that much more yardage in front of you to keep the clock rolling. I mean, we saw him go 15 yards in like a minute and a half, 2 minutes on the clock last game. And 36 in front, that's a lot of time. I mean, you're down to 3 minutes potentially in the 4th quarter by the time the end of this drive is over.
Oh, dangerous throw, but he's going to find 7 points as it goes to Devontae Adams over the midfield here. Easy enough to find another 7 points. That's going to get a 10-point advantage over to himself. Shenandoah looking mighty strong going into game number 3, trying to take this series 2-1. Back on Boise State's offense with just about 30 seconds left in the 3rd quarter and a little bit of the 4th. But he's still got to find 2 more scoring opportunities. It's not just that 3 or 7 point differential. He's got to find a touchdown and a field goal in the next 5.5 minutes here.
Good job, good job. So still has at least some time to work with in the third quarter. That's the benefactor at this point, is that you still have time in the third quarter to work with, plus the rest of the fourth. But you got to make sure that you get this ball moving quickly. The same thing we see both sides. I mean, find a hole in the defense with MVS, get behind the zone in the corner routes. It worked very well so far. Looking forward again.
Finds it again and brings it up to the 34. Boise State not going out without a fight. MVS once again on the sidelines, always finding these opportunities. And that is a fantastic throw. Almost drops it on the sideline, but still able to find it at the end of the day. So now we're going to see back in the passing action. Last play of the third quarter makes Aaron Rodgers drop back, and a drop is indeed going to happen as Aaron Jones not going to be able to hold on to that one. 2nd and 10 going into the fourth quarter now. If Boise State can find a quick 7 points here, looking mighty fine for a comeback to come through in the works and the movement. We're seeing some run game established from Boise State. Nice little rush there from Aaron Jones. That's something we have not seen in any of these games yet.
Yeah, and that's just the benefit of having an all-star player like Aaron Jones right there lined up next to an MVP quarterback in Aaron Rodgers. You can get beautiful throws on target regardless of coverage, and you have a person, a scat back right next to you that you can just dump it off to, who can make plays. If not, just run it right up the middle, make the plays of your own. This is why picking the Green Bay offense makes sense. He's got Aaron Jones again.
Yeah, found him early. Got Savage to go off the middle of the field to try and cover the tight end. Obviously had a wide open route to the tight end, so if he didn't cover that, would have been a touchdown, but instead just gets a first down. So still a decent defense coming out from Shenandoah to be able to stop that. But Boise State marching upfield, only using about 1.5 minutes of time so far, as they're going to go into trips formation once again, trying to maybe get Aaron Jones on a short pass here into the end zone. Nobody open, but of course MVS is going to find space in the end zone. And that is a quick 6 from Boise State to bring this one back within field goal range, barring the extra point attempt, of course, but it's going to be locked in, loaded. We are going to see a 17-14 game. Shenandoah is going to have to go back on the time management, which he's been great at, to be fair. It's not like he's not been good at that. That is a key part of his game that we've seen in game 1 and now in game 3. When he has that lead, he's very good at running the ball and being able to stop the clock. Obviously, wanting to just make sure he's down there, not going for any risk at a fumble.
Yeah.
And you're seeing the switch-ups on defense here for Boise State. He wants to get back in this one, bring this back into maybe overtime for game 3. And this is all on Shenandoah. If he establishes the run game or if he tries to get this downfield for some extra points, in this kind of situation, you got to maybe look at trying to enhance the safety of your team. Still trying to go for a touchdown to fully secure this game would be ideal, but you don't want to make any crucial mistakes. And Rodgers finding no room. Has to roll out to the right and throw it away. His first missed throw of the game for Shenandoah. He's still looking like he wants to find the extra points. Obviously not going to try and run this one down, especially with 3 full timeouts on Boise State. Can't really do that at this point. So he's got to still find a couple extra first downs and at least 3 points at the end of this drive. Or if he can waste enough time, then he doesn't have to worry about any of that. But of course, he still wants to try and get this one to be a conversion here. Seeing a cover 1 drop back coming out of Boise State on defense, and that's going to leave Aaron Jones maybe a lot of room, trying to avoid out, but finds him lurking down. Aaron Jones almost had the entire field in front of him, but instead gets stopped in the backfield. 3rd and 15 to go for Dill now. 3 minutes left on the clock, too. Hasn't wasted a whole lot of time in this possession. Has to find a deep pass.
For anything to go, still running this 3-3-5 defense.
Has a wide open Aaron Jones, but he dropped it. The worst ever time to make a drop like that is right there. And now punt formation comes out for Shenandoah with 3 minutes left on the clock. An unsuccessful offense turns into a chance for Boise State to try and win this game here with 3 minutes left. Dangerous reception, but he's going to get away from that tackle immediately. Brings him down at the 28-yard line. Boise State just needs 3 in this drive in order to bring this to overtime, but he's looking strong with 3 timeouts to try and take this to the end zone, especially with the deep passes we've seen so far.
All I'm saying is Jordan Love probably would have got that on target for Aaron Jones to hold on to it.
See, full sarcasm. Jones running for a decent amount of yardage there. Now you see the time waste maybe coming through from Boise State, starting with Aaron Jones a little bit in the second half here of the fourth quarter. Back to the passing option, 2nd and 2, potentially last play until that 2-minute warning to come through. So gets a free timeout there, has a lot of open receivers. Aaron Jones going to break one tackle, not going to find a second one, but is going to find a decent amount of yardage there. Trying to get one more pass creation to go through before that 2-minute warning. I like this. Trying to be aggressive, still trying to get downfield here. Instead, just going to wait 2-minute warning, try and maybe get an offsides, but not happy with the reads there. Going in the last 2 minutes of game number 3 for the Madden NACE PS Finals here. Shenandoah Esports versus Boise State, 2 very, very good esports programs and clubs. Obviously showing why they're here, why they're in this spot. Very, very low-scoring games, but fantastic scoring games. I thought he was throwing a deep ball to MVS there, but decides not to do that. Definitely way too risky to do with 2 minutes left on the clock. Still going to try and develop the play here, get this downfield.
Shenandoah is still trying to stack this on the front 7 and not really get anything beyond this. Stacking up the box, creating a lot of pressure. But these corner routes have had a lot of success to get behind, and now loosening up the secondary to take a step back.
This is the most important stop here for Shenandoah.
He's got man covered. Yep.
He's got nobody, but he's got Tunyon close, who almost gets his first down yard line. Do call it 4th and 1, so if he doesn't convert here, this is the end of the game. This is a very important stop for Shenandoah. On the contrary, a very important 4th and 1 conversion for Boise State, for Boise to try and get this one to go through. He has the arm right over the middle. MVS with just one person in the backfield. That is going to be a first down. That's going to get him into field goal territory as well. But Boise State not going to try and stop there. You're in range to try and end this game now. With 53 seconds on the clock and 2 timeouts. This is looking a little bit scary. He's got to be clamped down on defense here, but Austin finds some more and goes out of bounds. This is looking like a very strong drive for Boise State.
That's the New England special right there. Just send your slot receiver over the middle of 2 yards and get 6 yards after the catch. Get some, a lot of forward progress after that too. And Jones now just to cap this off. This is a fantastic drive that Boise's putting together right now.
Yeah, and this maybe questions if Dill wants to call timeouts or something here. Dangerous throw gets deflected. Almost intercepted from Shenandoah. That would have been the game. If we see some more dangerous throws and one of those turns into an interception, that's obviously game over for Dill here for Shenandoah. A very important aspect on defense here to try and stop these points from going through. Middle of the field covered pretty well. Aaron Rodgers maybe going for a rush. Is going to find it and go out of bounds for a 3-yard gain. 3rd and 7. Obviously still in field goal range, but wants to find that 7 points here to end the game. Can Boise State do it? One of the last opportunities they're going to have MVS a little bit open there at the beginning, but immediately covered there. Going to have to see a throwaway, but he's going to find Devontae Adams in the midfield. Okay. Not going to find a first down, though. He's going to have to use a timeout. 4th down. Oh, this is a tough decision. You either go for it, try and get a first down, or try and end the game now, or try and go into overtime with a field goal, and he's obviously going to line up in formation to try and win now. Has to find a 4th and 2, goes on for a rush. Aaron Jones going to find the first down. 8 seconds left.
Last timeout.
Last timeout used. Has one passing play available to him to try and win the game. Best of 3, 3rd game here. Boise State down 3 points. 7 seconds on the clock. One option left to try and win the game. Otherwise, this is going to a 3rd game overtime. Obviously, a crazy finish to the 2nd game, 20-21 with a missed 2-point conversion from Shenandoah to win this 2-0. This is the most important stop for Dill in his adventure here. Taking an extra timeout. I mean, he's got 3. Going to use this time to try and figure out how he wants to play this.
I'm on board with you go for it twice. We don't worry about overtime. Go for the win now. He's going to need that extra time.
Slants is the key play a lot of people like to do when you're close and goal in this scenario. He's only going to have time for one pass realistically. He got the offside, but timeout is called.
False start first.
It is going to be a false start indeed. So going back to the 8-yard line instead of the 3 is massive. Being able to bait that one through, tried to get it closer, to now just puts himself at a farther distance to try and convert this. This is the one play that he needs to try and find a quick pass on. Finds a deep ball into the end zone, doesn't find it though.
Oh.
Ref says he did not get that in bounds. Caught it in the back of the end zone, but didn't get both feet on the ground. 5 seconds left, still time.
This is so close.
For another play here. To try and pass this one into the end zone and try and get a field goal. Quick pass to come through, back zone again. Does catch it for the touchdown. Boise State gonna go ahead and take the series there with the 6-point conversion on the touchdown in the back of the end zone. Goes for the same similar style one-on-one grab. Puts Boise State on 21-17 with 2 seconds left. Shenandoah in a heartbreaking defeat here unless a miracle happens on a kickoff return. An unreal best of 3 for the first best of 3 of today.
Certainly did not expect this kind of fireworks here, barring a miracle on this kick return. That was a fair catch, so not going to waste any time. We're going to go for one more Hail Mary.
I mean, this is absolute insanity coming out from Boise State. Could you imagine the scenes if this Hail Mary goes through? No time left into deep coverage, interception, going to end the game. Boise State, your official NACE champions for PlayStation here. An incredible run back in this best of 3 series. 2-1, going to be the end score line. I mean, an absolute ridiculous game. I am at a loss for words. Obviously we knew this was going to happen. All back to game 2. Should Dill have kicked the extra point instead of the 2-point conversion, bringing him into overtime instead? I agree. I think going for it is totally fine. He has the game up.
Yep.
I mean, huge props to Dill on Shenandoah, though. An insane comeback. Had a close series in the group leading up to this stage. Brings it to 3 games and a very close 3 games in general. But Boise State takes it out.
In the same aspect that, I like the 2-point conversion call in game number 2.
Yep.
I like the gutsy call at the end of game 3 where you get 2 plays in a row. I mean, 5 seconds is not a lot of time. Like, you have to do exactly what you did. Immediately get that ball off. There is no time to waste whatsoever. You did just that. If it's an incompletion, now you have 2 seconds for a field goal, okay. But if you waste any more time, you take the L by 3. And it's just those kind of on-the-border gutsy calls I love to see. We both predicted a 2-0. I will shamelessly go down and say I was dead wrong, and I could not be more proud to say that I was dead wrong, because what a damn series that was to start today's competition. And there's still more after this. I mean, we still have Madden again after this one, and I thought this one was going to be relatively one-sided, and I could not have been more wrong, and I'm so happy I was.
Yeah, I mean, a fantastic finish. If that ball gets intercepted, the game's over. Shenandoah wins. If that ball gets deflected, it's a field goal. It goes in overtime. Gets caught. That happens. Boise State wins an insane game 3. I mean, that gets everybody at the edge of their seat in that scenario. You have 7 seconds left. I thought just one opportunity, but the quick passes gave him enough time to get a second pass to go through after the first one didn't convert. Crazy thing was he caught that, just didn't have both feet in bounds according to the refs. So they said it's not going to be the case, and he just ran it back again and did the same thing. An insane finish to that series. A very phenomenal 3 games, of course, to come through from Boise State and Shenandoah. You cannot be mad if you're Shenandoah or you're Dill here. Obviously, a lot of support for both sides in the chat. Dill obviously had a fantastic game, but Boise State coming out on top. I mean, that game 3 really was back and forth. We see a little bit of Boise State using the run game coming back into effect there at the end of game 3 to try and get back in the clock management. It worked out.
Yeah, being able to do so was just a great job by Shenandoah to come back into that one in game number 2. I mean, down 2 touchdowns, able to then storm back down the field in the 4th quarter twice, get that one right back in the mix, and then Boise State able to do so in the 3rd game. A huge shout out to both teams, both competitors for being here, getting to this point. And based off what I read in the chat, the fact that the first game went to overtime in their regular season was promising that this was going to be a good one. So with that, the conclusion here of the PlayStation Madden finals. Congratulations again to Boise State and Wasey Williams for winning that one. Back-to-back Friday, Saturday champions for him, by the way, so he's got to be feeling pretty good. So we're feeling pretty good. I'm feeling good enough. I'm so good that I don't want to be here alone anymore, so I'm going to bring our captain back. Hi, how are you?
Salute.
How you guys feeling after that? I mean, that was intense.
Crazy.
Yeah, that was like more caffeine injected into my system.
Yeah, I mean, that was a fantastic way to kick off our championship series. And of course, none of this would even be possible without all of our amazing sponsors. So huge shout out and thank you to Microsoft, ATL, eHire, HyperX, and Queens Gaming Collective for making this entire event possible and so very enjoyable. Now, we also got to remind everybody in chat, even though that was a very intense game, we do have all of our giveaways running for you guys. We have our social media giveaways and our giveaway in chat for the stream for you guys. So make sure you guys are checking out at Skillshot Media for more information on how to enter and get into that. But guys, I think we have some highlights here.
I mean, that game was filled with highlights there. It was just absolute craziness the entire game. You saw some crazy deep balls.
Really
that sideline could have been taken for 7. Ends up turning into 7 anyways, with MVS finding the similar route and finding that equalizer there at halftime. But obviously, we thought this was Dill's game. Going into halftime, up 3 points, had the kickoff as well, but had a little bit of struggle on offense on some of these drives here. And Aaron Rodgers finding, I mean, a fantastic pass for Devontae Adams to get him to that 17-point threshold, but couldn't really find anything after that. And obviously, that is a huge throw on a deep first or second down there, and then finding MVS easily in the back of the end zone, tying it up, and then a couple of fantastic catches back in the end zone there. I mean, just an insane finish to that game 3.
Absolutely. Now, I know it's going to be hard to pick, and we did just get to see some of those highlights, but for you guys watching the whole series, I need you to tell me your favorite moments from those games.
It's got to be game 2, the MVS just down the sideline twice. I mean, gets 2 long open routes just behind the defense, and he goes 70+ yards for a touchdown twice to get it back into a 1-point game. Dylan did a phenomenal job to mount that comeback, and MVS was a huge component. If I'm giving away a virtual MVP trophy for that series, even in a mirror matchup, MVS is getting that one 2 out of 2 times.
All right, what about you, Troy?
Yeah, I'd say MVS was fantastic, but I obviously have to give it to that conversion with 7 seconds left. Gets the same call to go and work twice, just one of them being out of bounds. I think it's aggressive play calling. I think it's a very interesting spot because you obviously have the field goal to tie it up and try to go to overtime, but he just wanted to take it all, and it ended up working out for him. So I have to give it at the end of that third game, of course, the hype that was around that moment. Being able to go for an aggressive play like that in the finals, in the last game of the finals, is something that not many people are able to do. So I think it's very impressive.
All right, well, guys, thank you so much for walking us through all of that action in our first series. We have our first official victor for the night. Congratulations to Boise State on winning the first Madden matchup against Shenandoah. That was a very, very well-fought battle. Coming up, we have our next match up on Xbox. Some more Madden action coming here for you guys, and that's going to be Minnesota State as they take on Glenville State in their head-to-head Xbox One Madden matchup of the 2021 NACE Championship Series. So stick around, guys. We'll be right back.